So, welcome everybody to the panel Engineering and Technology, Digitization and Supply Chain Strengthening. We are in this panel here today, and I think it's a very important topic actually in the context of the Lithuanian and German partnership. Industry is a strong backbone actually of both countries. And in the Lithuanian economy, approximately 21% of the GDP actually is generated from manufacturing activities in the country. Also Lithuania and Germany, they have quite good relationships in trades, as we have heard before today as well. And today, relations between Germany and Lithuania are better actually than ever before. Investments and trade between both nations is actually booming. And for the Lithuanian industrial engineering sector, Germany is indeed, also as we have heard earlier before, the first export partner. As much as 16% of the entire Lithuanian industrial engineering sector is exported alone to Germany. So today, our today's topic here is more relevant than ever before, I would say. And today we will discuss how to strengthen even further this great partnership in the engineering sector between the two countries, which is Lithuania and Germany. So, but enough about the topic. We will hear a lot of different aspects of the engineering sector of both countries. But before we start with our discussion, I would like to briefly introduce our participants today. So first we have Giedrius Valutskas. Giedrius, he is the head of the company Progressive Business Solutions. And with this company, he allows and helps to increase production efficiencies and digitize production processes, find useful international contacts, and also increase the volume of exports and orders. But that's not all. Giedrius is also a board member of Enterprise Lithuania and a board member of Lindpla. And finally, he is also the president of the Free Economic Zones of Lithuania. So we have a very esteemed guest here. So Giedrius, welcome.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. I'm excited here to be.
So next we have Rokas Latkauskas. Rokas, he's the manager of the digital industries here at Siemens in Lithuania. And Rokas, he stated earlier that automation of production processes and the employment of new technologies will become a necessity in the next 4 years, while only half of the managers of production companies actually claim to know what Industry 4.0 is. And the other half of those surveyed admit that they have not heard of the fourth industrial revolution. So I think this is a very a statement that offers a lot to discuss, and we will certainly discuss this discrepancy between the next 45 minutes or so. So Rokas, also a warm welcome to you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My pleasure to be here.
Next in line, then we have Kęstutis Kazakaitis. Kęstutis, he is the head of the Lithuanian branch of the world's largest enterprise management software company, which is SAP. And he's an expert in digital technologies, having actually more than 18 years of experience in this field. So Kęstutis, he's a professional, and with him we have a professional on the IT side of the Industry 4.0 among us here today. Also Kęstutis, he's a speaker in various events and shares his know-how and experience with business leaders at national and international conference. And today then is just another example of this. So also to you, Kęstutis, a big welcome.
Hello, everyone. Nice to be here. Talk to everyone.
So then next we have Christoph Schelske. Christoph, he is the general manager at Micron Kaunas, And from 2015 to 2019, he was the head of operations at Micron in Berlin. And his background is industrial engineering, and he also had held several positions in the field of supply management in the semiconductor and optical industry. Also, he is a member of the management board of the AHK here in Lithuania. So Micron Kaunas is an experienced local partner in the field of automation in automotive, medical, and also the electronics industry. And together with the group, Micron is developing and producing precise, productive, and automation solutions. So Christoph's actually daily job has a lot to do with Industry 4.0. And I'm pretty sure that he can share a lot of insights with us today. And then last but not least, of course, we have Tobias Polschmidt. Tobias, he is the general manager of Hella. And also Tobias is internationally experienced, and what's very interesting about him is that he was for over 4 years the purchasing manager at Hella Shanghai. And with this, I think he might even bring a third perspective into our discussions, a third country perspective, so to say, from China, which also might be very interesting. And Tobias, the same as Christoph, he's also a member of the management board of the AHK and also a passionate cyclist, actually. So also to Christoph and Tobias, also a big and warm welcome.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much.
Good. So then I think enough with the prep talk. Let's start directly with our questions and the discussions. And I would like to start with the topic of supply chains, because shortened supply chains actually give Lithuania a chance to become, if you would like to say, a small European factory. And right now, China is the world's factory, but Lithuania actually has the chance to become Europe's factory, because more and more foreign companies seek to shorten and diversify their production chains. And therefore, they turn off their eyes of China and shift their focus to European countries, for example, Lithuania. And indeed, in my role at the chamber, I also talk to a lot of German companies, and what I really have noticed is that more and more companies are investigating the possibilities to come here to Lithuania because they would like to go away from China or from Asia, because they would like to shorten their supply chains and bring their production closer to their doorstep, which for Germany or for German companies is quite often Europe, and Lithuania is not that far away from Lithuania, or Lithuania is not that far away from Germany. And thus, I always tell those German companies that it's Lithuania is in a very, very good location, strategically speaking, with attractive business environment for Western manufacturers to actually reshore their production. So, the question that I actually would like to discuss is whether Lithuania can become an even more sustainable and reliable partner for German manufacturers. Are German companies actually keen in outsourcing manufacturing and supply chain from China to Lithuania? I mentioned already that I've noticed this trend, but I'm very eager to learn what the panelists today have to say about this. So maybe, Giedrus, we could start with your take on this question. Giedrus, please.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your question. Yes, I would like to also highlight that Germany for Lithuania is the main actually partner. Like you just said, regarding the exports is the number one for the exports, and regarding the direct investments is on number 4. And I believe that very soon Germany will become into the bronze, position, or even silver or gold, So hopefully it will become #1. Since we have a really recently really big business cases like Hella, which sits here also on this panel, but we have Conti, Rihau, Bear Cargo Lift, and many potential investors who are looking probably for the same reason you just asked and described. So I would say there are probably 3 main points, basically, and possibilities for Lithuania. So one of them is this reshoring projects, and Lithuania could become as operational and manufacturing and logistics hub for German manufacturers, since of the really good location, first of all, because Lithuania can serve different markets. We speak about Northern European markets, Scandinavian markets, Western European markets, and some CIS countries as well. Which also makes very interesting because we do have the connection possibility with, we have in Lithuania internally the Russian with railroads, but also we have the connection and connectivity option for the European railroad with, which means that all the cargoes coming by trains from China, for example, of the components, we could redirect into the Europe. But before the redirecting, of course, there is a meaning to have the more value added in here, and which I believe it will come more and more projects into this sphere. Also, because of the great location, there is a possibility to use the labor force. I believe maybe we can separately discuss about this issue, because the labor and talent pool issue is one of the main today in Europe. And speaking about Lithuania, we still have a lot of potential comparing to other, let's say, countries who are possible locations and partners for German manufacturers, like, Poland, like Hungary, like Bulgaria and Serbia and all others. So I would say that Lithuania is a great potential for manufacturing developments for German industries because of, yes, like I said, location. Another thing is that not only we speak about China and potential supply chain from China, but we have this peaking manufacturing activities in European zone. So we, during the last year, the pandemic, let's say year, and I would say when the people are getting out of the comfort zone. So for emerging countries, like for example, Lithuanians and Lithuanian exporters, it's easier to get into the supply departments, in those companies. So they are more open and more willing to find opportunities. So basically, Lithuania is getting in the shorter lists of the possible partnership. And what we see in the industry, I want to highlight that Lithuania in manufacturing industry, we didn't have the crisis even last year. So when everybody here speaks about the resilience to the crisis, so manufacturing industry in Lithuania, we had plus 0.8% last year. And comparing this year, we have tremendous growth, actually, which makes also very attractive to find the new suppliers and to find the new businesses. Then another point is also the favorable business conditions. If we speak here about really about the direct investments and not only to look for the suppliers, but to run the operations, I would say Lithuania is really the perfect country to run those projects just because of the very good business environment. We are 11th of the ease of doing business in globally. We are very high and in the top of the infrastructure regarding the for example, 4G and the Wi-Fi. And we also have a lot of benefits which we can use our multicultural abilities. So basically, Lithuania, in how to say, culture-wise and understanding, we are quite similar to Germans, and we still can speak different languages. So there are many languages available in the country where you can find different specialists and different options regarding the communication. So I think that in the future, Germany not only remain, but will become more probably more bigger partner regarding the business, and especially if we speak about manufacturing projects.
Okay, Giedrus, thank you very much. You actually mentioned a lot of very interesting points, especially one that I would also like to follow up upon, where you mentioned that Lithuania has experienced only actually a slight drop in productivity and in a GDP drop in the engineering sector. So I think it's worth to discuss also why that is, especially also compared to the rest of Europe. But before we do that, I would like to also dig deeper a little bit into this question and maybe ask Tobias from Hella, because it's not that you did a reshoring project, let's say from China here to Lithuania, but for you personally, maybe it felt a little bit like this. And maybe you can elaborate a little bit on the reasons why you have chosen Lithuania, also from a German perspective.
Yeah, Dominic, thank you very much. Thank you also once again for having me. So let me elaborate a little bit about the reasons why we went to Lithuania. So we had a number of countries on our list with aim of further diversification of our production footprint. And in the end, it was a very, very clear decision for Lithuania. And to a lot of points which Giedrus already mentioned, I would like to add that really a very good level of education was here the key point. And we are located in Kaunas, directly at the KTU, the Technical University. And this is for us really the key resource. So going to Lithuania was not because of cheap labor. This is let's say, illusion, of course. For us, competitiveness is very, very important, but therefore, and we will discuss it also later on during our further questions, I'm pretty sure, automation, Industry 4.0 are key success factors for us here in Lithuania, and the preconditions and the education level, the mindset of the people, this is what we really saw as most promising in Lithuania. And our production philosophy for manufacturing is really local to local. So here in Lithuania, we are producing for the European market, and in China, we produce for the Chinese market. Now you can still ask me as a perspective as a purchasing manager, which I was in my previous role, and there it looks, I would say, still a little bit different. We are purchasing components around the globe, and during crisis right now with COVID, with a shortage of capacity of transportation, with the semiconductor crisis, the voice is getting louder and louder for further diversification also in these special areas. And here I do see also a huge opportunity for Lithuania because this trend will be sustainable. And right now in the automotive industry, as Hella is in, we are really limited by the amount of components we can get. Otherwise, we would have even much higher potential to further grow here in Lithuania. And there will be, over the next years, I think, a very clear trend to further localization, even of the supply chain, which for the parts which we are purchasing. And here, I really hope also and would like to encourage also potential German investors to have a look into Lithuania, because I do believe not only for automotive manufacturing, but also for components, there are very, very good preconditions which you can find here in Lithuania.
Okay, thank you very much, Tobias. I think this is very important also to understand why German companies actually choose Lithuania as a production location. You also mentioned the, let's say, the aspect or the importance of transformation, of digital transformation. Maybe this is also a little bit connected to what Giedrus mentioned earlier, that Lithuania had actually a rather small backdrop during the crisis compared to other European countries. So talking about the importance of digital transformation and everything that goes with it within the context of Industry 4.0, what would you say, in which stages in the digital transformation are German and Lithuanian companies in the engineering sector? And what is maybe important for German companies on the one hand, and are Lithuanian companies on the other hand ready to satisfy these German expectations? And maybe here we could start with Rokas, because I think you also might have a good understanding of both worlds, and you're dealing with this topic. So what do you think? What is the current level in Lithuania in terms of digital transformation and automation?
Okay, thank you for your question. Yeah, maybe to start from digital in the transformation, Industry 4.0, I would say that these definitions not itself are the targets. Maybe the targets are, or challenges are, more or less it's like a speed to market, because the new products, the timing on production, availability, these factors has to be taken on account when we are talking about automation and digitalization. Efficiency and flexibility of production, it's a challenge, and to keep these on the right price and quality level. So the third factor which is supposed to be taken into account. And when we're talking about security, I'm talking about IT security and OT security. These are the challenges which Lithuanian and believe German companies are meeting or approaching right now. And then we can come to such a definitions like a digital transformation or Industry 4.0, and actually digitalization as in general. So these factors it has taken into account, and digitalization or automation level. Talking about Lithuania now, so maybe I give one example. Maybe it sounds a bit from other field like robotics. It could be connected directly with automation, but if to take the figures, for example, Germany is number 4th in the world or what is in regard of robotics. So it's such a factor is calculated like density of robot usage among the 10,000 of employees. So the rate of Germany is something like 346 of robots per 10,000 of workers or employees in factories. And Lithuania, even we have not such a ranking, but from local perspective, what we are calculating is something like from 10 to 20 robots per 10,000 employees. So such a maybe difference what we can can imagine. But okay, we have to take into account that Lithuania has no such electronics, because robots are used mainly in electronics and automotive. So maybe it's a different area. But it's in order to talk about digitalization and digital transformation, we have to have according some level of quality of automation. So in some fields, yes, in some industries we are quite productive and quite high automated, but there are quite a lot of area to improve. And yes, digitalization and digital transformation we see as a holistic approach when we digitalizing a whole chain, value chain, not just separate points. And yes, with Lithuania, we have some gaps in automation, or we're tackling some separate points. What I see in German references, maybe with having more holistic approach to digitalization and of the whole value chain, from digital twin of product, digital twin of production, such a smooth data exchange from digital to real production and real product, such a systematic approach what we are trying to promote in Lithuania as well. So these practices are coming, but coming slowly. So I do see quite big potential on digitalization and digital transformation in Lithuania, and we have to follow some German examples what we have already. So yeah, maybe shortly on this topic.
Yeah, thank you very much. So you mentioned that there are some areas where Lithuania is already quite advanced. So maybe you could also explain a little bit on those areas. Where do you actually see the strength of Lithuanian companies? And also what I mentioned earlier, that I think it was you that said it's not everybody also in the manufacturing industry or in the engineering industry understands what Industry 4.0 actually is. So how could this actually be mitigated? What can Lithuania do in order also to catch up maybe to Germany?
Looking from technical point of view, I try to be very simple. So what is Industry 4.0? What is German description or digital transformation? In general, it would be smooth data exchange from digital world to real production, a real product. So such a definitions are as virtual commissioning, predictive maintenance. These are topics with a high priority. And in order to have a digitalization, we need to have, from the beginning, reliable data. So it means that the data which is coming majority from the field. So when we talk about IT technologies, we don't need to forget OT technologies, what is operational technologies. So it means managing of the data from the field to the higher layers of a company or manufacturing company. So it means we're starting from the field devices, from the data what we're having on the lowest layer of a manufacturing company, and we then transfer this data to the higher layers, operational management, ERP systems, what Kęstutis maybe follow up later on IT level. So this smart managing of data, it's the point of digital transformation and Industry 4.0. So data is the value, but the value we have to measure or to have on the right table, on the right timing. So it's the main point. And in order to have this data and on the right table, on the right timing, we need to have a needed automation level. What I mentioned on some industries is okay already, some okay, food and beverage, some manufacturing industry, what we talked already, Hella, Continental, as a German companies. But then if we talk of on public sector, if we talk about some infrastructure projects, so we are missing some systematic approach in Lithuania. So there's a lot to do in cooperation with our engineering companies, local engineering companies. What I want to mention that one of the changes or trends, what I see in recent 5 years, that some 5 years ago, we have a cooperation with Scandinavian companies or with German companies, where our local manufacturers used to get just simple orders from these countries to assemble something or to install something as according to the detailed design already. But nowadays, the engineering companies have obtained different international standards, ISO, DNV, UL, or whatever. So, and these companies are already ready to be involved in bigger projects, and they are involved already in bigger projects, doing significant part of engineering, or even involved in R&D with some manufacturing companies from Scandinavia or from Germany. So where I see the potential.
Okay, Rokas, thank you very much. And there were actually 2 points that I maybe would like to play back into this panel here. So maybe Giedrus, also Rokas mentioned a more systematic approach when it comes to automation, digitalization, etc. in Lithuania. What is your take on this?
I just wanted to highlight that we are pioneers regarding the digitalization and infrastructure, if to speak about Lithuania as a country, just because we are, I think, that far behind Germany for the 4G coverage, cybersecurity, OIT, and other things. However, digitalization is absolutely critical as a key topic for LTE manufacturing companies. And basically, I think that it is driven, first of all, by the communication and, by, for example, auditing of the manufacturers from Germany. First of all, if we're receiving the inquiries, so they have to run the audit, and they got the key points and keynotes and direction where to go with the digitalization. So this is one thing. Another thing is that our manufacturing companies are heavily investing into Industry 4 solutions, and just to keep the export contracts, and it's done, in recent years. And what we have in Lithuania, we have also the European funding support for that the companies are using as well. So this is also like a key driven option for probably smaller manufacturing companies. And another key driver is, I would say, that increasing salaries as well as global increasing salaries and the lack of specialists. You have to look for the innovations and, of course, for the digitalization. So those are most probably biggest key drivers.
Okay, thank you. And this aspect of attracting talents, we will also discuss in a minute. But also, Kestutis, I would like to ask you now, because Rokas mentioned also the keyword big data, data management. I think this might also be something where SAP's expertise is lying. So what do you think on that?
Yes, so, but maybe let me start a bit doing some step back. We started together with the German Chamber of Commerce in, I think it was 2016, with the sessions on the Industry 4 or conference Industry 4, and we were the ones heavily involved and willing to bring the competence or the experience of what is this Industry 4 into the country, into Lithuania. Now what I can say that although we are moving ahead quite successfully, and honestly, I think this the COVID situation proved that the companies overnight they turned into understood the need and understood the relevance of the business digitalization. But now, since this was the step, and I think the whole, it's not only European companies have understood the need to digitize the business. It's happening all over the world. But getting back to what you, Dominic, mentioned at the beginning on the shortening the supply chains. And I think that this digitalization of the business is one of the aspects allowing to make the supply chains shorter. And now we have with colleagues here in SAP, we have such a statement that previously it was this just-in-time delivery, and it was very accurate and very right, like an etalon for a good manufacturing business, for example. But now we have a saying that this might be just in case delivery, because if anything happens in globally or in your market, then you need to be just in case ready to switch very quickly your partners, your suppliers, to have alternatives close by, and you need to be as an organization ready to it. And therefore, we see a new term rising now, that it's not only the digital economy, it's not only the real-time economy, but it's as well a networked economy. So which means that what Rokas as well mentioned about this, how to digitize the whole value chain, that everyone is aware who is doing what, where, how much, what products they have. So we talk about the green economy, so that you don't overproduce something, that you don't produce waste. So therefore, this networked digital economy, we believe, is something that will very much grow further. The companies will have to integrate one another, each other, into this networked economies, knowing your partners, knowing when to address whom, knowing who is producing what at what price, because we strongly believe that the companies who will survive are the ones who are producing the sustainable products. But at the same time, producing the sustainable products, you need to be, how to say, you need to know how much to produce, when to produce, to whom to produce, to avoid the waste, and meaning that you still need to be profitable. And therefore, it's a big chain that needs to be all integrated. So therefore, I think companies not only will digitize the internal processes within the organizations, but further we will see a lot that companies are working a lot one with another, and they're integrating even on the process level. We see already now from our customers, and I'm really happy that we see a very big boost now in Lithuania for not only ERP system implementation, like for finance and big data management, but as well to be able to quicker, faster respond to your partners. Like, I don't know, to respond to big partners like, I don't know, IKEA, and they're asking not only to provide you the finished goods, but they want to see where the product that you are producing is in your factory, in which moment of the production. And further on, giving the possibility again to respond not only to your direct partner or customer, but your customer's customer. So I think that this is all becomes a big family, but on the other hand, I think it's towards the making the sustainable products, making the businesses more efficient. So that's from my side.
Okay, thank you very much, Kęstutis. So not just in time, but also just in case. I like this very much. Okay, but maybe let's switch a little bit the perspective now and touch a topic that we already mentioned, which is the work itself in the engineering sector and also the career chances in this sector. So in Lithuania, as far as I know, there are roughly, I think, over 50,000 people work in the engineering sector here in Lithuania. And also the average salary is actually more than 10%, I think 14% or so higher than in Lithuania as a whole. But on the other hand, there's also a significant tendency that the engineering education or the university studies, they are still not as popular as, let's say, social or human science. And that for engineering companies, they're expanding like Hella and Continental, as we've just heard. It's getting harder and harder to find actually qualified workers. And so maybe we can start here with this question with Christoph and Tobias, because I know that both are, yeah, well, let's say, dealing with this topic. And the question would be how maybe can we attract more people into this career path? How can we increase the popularity of engineering studies or promote this career path? Because as Giorgio said, okay, salary might be one point, but if the salary is already higher than the average in Lithuania, so what could be a solution? Would it be possible to import workers maybe from other countries here to Lithuania? Yeah, Christoph, maybe you could share your experiences that you've made so far in Lithuania, whether or not it's hard for you now to find new qualified workers, and what you're actually planning to do now.
Yeah, for us, as you already said, also even if Micron Kaunas is more or less in the relation to continental Hella, a smaller company, nevertheless, we are also growing and looking for specialists, especially in the engineering field of mechanical engineering or also control engineering, to work on our products and to assemble our lines and to commission this at the customer site. That's the engineering and project management, one of the backbones of our business model at least. Yeah, and honestly, I'm a little bit happy that our business model is a little bit different than Tobias in the production field. So we are not challenging us that much on the same engineering, let's say, type of people, because this is something what we really see now when we are looking on specialists. That's really some difference in the field of automation, and especially in this engineering sector. What our plan is that we are following a strategy, working together, especially with the KTU and with the Dean for the mechanical engineering topic, because our plan is also to build up an internal capacity pool out of Lithuania to work with our other sites in Denver or also in Switzerland. So we are working on a partnership to have something that we have this continuous growth of the engineering field, thinking about open door days, also to show, hopefully soon after this COVID crisis, to show what we are doing. And I think getting a little bit away from this too much theory in the studies, to have some practical examples how the work in the field of engineering is. Yeah, at least for us, it's a little bit challenging because I would say automation itself is maybe not that well and historically the driver in Lithuanian economy. So we have quite a small number of very experienced people, and we are working now on to multiply this, to have internal measures that we take to work with colleagues on a junior level, to get international trainings, to get them into our other sites, and to develop this, and then to transport this and multiply this also for the local Lithuanian market, to also support on that topic. That's our main work, what we are doing now, and also having at least the same for maybe not on the engineering level, but also on the level for highly skilled mechanical technicians. I think this is also something what's the major difference to Germany, that we don't have this vocational system here in Lithuania, and that's something what we also see, that we need really training for new colleagues, new employees, to get them on the level and to get them prepared for our tasks. So this is definitely something which is challenging, but I'm quite optimistic that we are find a solution for that. At least I think the fundament is to go into cooperations to attract this field of engineering for interested women and men as early as possible, and then also to give them the opportunities and the chance to really feel and see what they have to expect in those fields of engineering. And I think especially working in international companies, to have the opportunity also to be maybe on other sites in the world, to have also the opportunity with the new work culture to have really a lot of flexibility, and for example, for a mechanical engineer or software engineers also possible to work remotely on most places in the world. That's all points that we are supporting in our, let's say, HR policy on hiring new talents to support this topic, and hope also to multiply this to get more successful on building and recruiting talents for the market.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, thank you very much, Christoph. And I would also like to, maybe ask this question to Tobias, but maybe with a twist. I would like to ask a more maybe difficult question, or maybe a thought-provoking question. So, because what you said earlier, that you mentioned when you made the decision to come into Lithuania, one of the main reasons also was the qualified workforce that was available here in Lithuania. So now, fast forward a couple of years, like from the time that you came here to Lithuania, would you now take the same decision to come again here to Lithuania with the current situation? Is it still so favorable that you would say, yes, Lithuania is a very attractive location for us? Or has the situation changed, and maybe you would now consider other aspects in when making your decision?
Thank you, Dominic, for the question. And I would like to answer also really in this field, maybe with this example of the field of education. So we were coming 4 years ago, and back at the time, it was a little bit easier for us to find qualified workforce. Now we grow to a number of about 200 employees in our location in Kaunas. And we do see that talent is getting difficult. Why I would say we would take the decision always again to come to Kaunas and to come to Lithuania is the local partners. Because we do see we are facing a challenge right now, and together with Invest Lithuania, with the KTU, with Kaunas College, and other companies like Continental, Kitron, Littelfuse, we started an initiative to tackle this challenge and have the target that in the next 2 years we will double down on the number of electronic students, and we can see really a very eager environment and very eager partners to support us with this topic. We will establish here, let's say, the second layer of getting qualified employees. The first one was we were going to universities and talking to students, bringing them into the company. Now we will go really into the schools and talk to students before they decide to go to the university, and try to promote here electronics as the university degree. And there I'm really looking forward to tackle this challenge. As I said, we do see here very enthusiastic partners to tackle this topic. And I think this kind of dynamic environment and dynamic problem solving is something which really shows you that the business environment in Lithuania is very active, and I'm quite sure that we will be successful with our aim to get more talents into electronics, and with this really boost the number of electronic students and qualified workforces for the future. So we are not only looking with our strategy into the next 2 years, but really into the next 5 to 10 years. And we are here to stay in Lithuania, and therefore, if we have a challenge, tackle it together with local partners.
Okay, yeah, that sounds really good actually. And now maybe the same question, but going a little bit higher up from a company perspective, more on a country perspective. Giedrius, maybe from let's say from your Lindpra experience, how do you discuss this topic with your colleagues, with the board members? Is it like a priority topic that you have identified for Lithuania? And if so, what are the measures that the companies maybe are planning?
Yes, it is the priority topic for several years, and exactly like described Christoph and Tobias, we have other cases, business cases with other companies. As a Limpra, as an association, we are also working with the technical schools, vocational schools, universities, initiating the programs. It's now really nice to see that separate businesses are involving into separate projects with the scholarships and etc. and so on. Also, like Tobias just said, as Limpra, we also having some common projects with integrating actually into the engineering industries the people from kindergartens even. So you know that you can formulate their way, not already from the university, but a little bit before. So this is, I think, it's very important, and is what we see like we should make the copy-paste successful stories, what you have also in Germany, like called dual training, for example. So it's exactly what we are doing. So we are trying to take all the best, business cases and to implement in the country. So like you asked before, like short-term problem solving is to probably now is to also look for the opportunities in other countries and to attract the talents from there, which is exactly what now it's going. Lithuania is very favorable for the Belarusian and Ukraine talent pool, so it's attracting them. But for the long term, it's very high priority step to get the right educational things here to set up. So this is one of the main issues, and we are working on that. And speaking about also the regarding the people in the market. So we already have comparing this first quarter of 2021 compared to pre-pandemic quarter of 2019 year. So we are plus 1.7%. More people already working in the industry, which means that it will of course grow, and we have to work on that.
Okay, that's a very positive trend then. I think we have time for one more quick question, and I would like to follow up, as I promised in the beginning, Giedris, also what you said, that the backdrop of the Lithuanian engineering companies was smaller than compared to the rest of Europe. So maybe in an open round, maybe everybody can say, I don't know, one or two sentences why they think that is, or even what you, like a positive note to end everything on the Lithuanian economy, on the, let's say, resilience of the Lithuanian manufacturing sector, and also from a maybe an outlook perspective. What do you think is Lithuania's potential? Also maybe in the partnership cooperation with Germany. Rokas, maybe you would like to start.
Okay, so answering to your question, what is regarding of low percentages of a drop? So I would say that, okay, our Lithuanian manufacturers, up to my experience, what I worked with local engineering companies and manufacturers, they shifted very well and quickly to new pandemic situation. Actually, very few maybe companies were closed for some time being, but in general, the companies were working all the pandemic period. Okay, maybe because we are comparably small, it was easier to shift, but high responsibility and existing contracts and loyalty of employees too. So I believe these were the factors that these factors allowed to us to be in line and to ensure these percentages, what Giedris was mentioned in our manufacturing, not dropping, but even increasing. And what was the second part of the question? What you want to
like a positive note to end, let's say, on the future of Lithuania. What do you think maybe is the strength that Lithuania can build on?
Yeah, so what I already mentioned, that I believe we are strong engineering competencies, and what you talked about the education, it was said that we need to promote engineering, and we are still cost competitive, I believe, not anymore cheap like it was said, but we're still cost competitive, competent and responsible. So I believe these are main factors which could be attract the Lithuania and for further partnership with German or Scandinavian or other investors. But yeah, I believe it's supposed to be the partnership and cooperation. We are not anymore like a vendors and suppliers, like Kęstutis was saying. We have to be in closer partnership and to develop the value chain together.
Okay, so then maybe Kęstutis, your final thoughts for this panel today.
Yes, so I think that my idea is that what I like about the Lithuanian companies, that they are indeed turning and upgrading and learning new technologies, new platforms. They are getting closer to their customers in other markets, in not only Germany but in European markets. So, which means that the closer they are, of course, it is much better for them to feel the how their customers are breathing. So I strongly believe that with increased efficiency, the business efficiency, what they're performing, with increased cooperation and integration between the businesses, then everyone will know in the supply chain, everyone will know their position very well, and it will bring synergy effects. So therefore, I believe that this pandemic maybe has shown has given some challenges, but at the same time, it turned the business to be more agile, more adaptive, and we found new ways of collaboration. So that's good. I think that's very positive.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's very positive. Christoph, how optimistic are you for the future of Lithuania and maybe also for Micron in Lithuania?
Yeah, I'm very optimistic because, as we also said more or less before, that this pandemic situation brought us a little bit out of the comfort zone, and I think having quite a resilient supply chain, having the framework to compete with other countries, which is I think perfect in Lithuania, helped us also as a company in Lithuania to come very good through this crisis. And I think we, as offering engineering and automation solutions, we feel that there is definitely a need of the implementation of, robotic solutions, vision solutions, to be more resilient and to implement more equipment at least. And I think this also helps to boost Lithuania with all the new investments into in more advanced level on the local market, and this at least makes this very positive. And I think in general the outlook is quite positive on that, what we see now in the market.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree, Christoph. Thank you. Tobias, your final words, your final thoughts for today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so future for Hella, the company I'm representing in Lithuania, looks very, very promising. We won 2 very, very big projects which will fill our production during the next 8 years quite significantly. I think what's our limiting factor will really this topic of engineers. And here I'm looking very, very positive into the future with our initiative Future for Electronics to really have the right level of education and a very, very good European university here in Kaunas with the KTU. And also enthusiastic people in Kaunas and in the whole country, and therefore my yeah, note is very positive, and looking by this also very positive into the future of Lithuania.
Yes, that's great to hear. Thank you, Tobias, and Giedrus, the honor of the very final words for today then goes to you.
Thank you very much. So I would say that, I would like to highlight a few facts that manufacturing industry comparing, from January, April this year, comparing to the last year, we grew 18.5%. And also, if we compare only the April of this year and last year, it rose the output by 32%. So also, if we analyze the purchase managers index in economic activity in Germany, for example, so it is very close to the historical records, and despite that, it was almost now were driven by the demands from US and China. So we basically expect V-shaped recovery, consumption recovery in European Union after we were unchained from this COVID situation. So it should boom really, and manufacturing sector will become the locomotive. And basically, because we are in the good relationship and good partnership with Germany, but still I think that Germans, they didn't find yet Lithuania. So I very much hope and that it will be more projects and more findings as a country, as a potential in Lithuania. So I think that the future is really very bright.
Yes, thank you, Giedrus. And this is exactly also our job from the chamber. We are here for the German companies to bring them here to Lithuania. And I'm also pretty sure that in the future, there will be more and more German companies here in Lithuania. So with that, I would like to thank all of you very, very much for this very interesting, informative, and fun discussion. I learned a lot. I hope the people watching and listening to us as well. And till the next time, then hopefully in person again, and have a nice evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Same to you.